Hello my friends, I hope you all had a great week and that you're doing really well. I just wanted to thank you all for the amazing response to my last video. I was not expecting that at all and it's been a massive encouragement. It encourages me to do my best and that's exactly what I'm going to keep doing. But yeah, enough about me, let's get into it. Destiny 2, The Final Shape. I told you how Bungie wrote themselves into a corner. The Final Shape is the resolution to several stories that have been told over the last 10 years. Beyond Light and Lightfall in particular did little if nothing to advance many of those core stories. Now, in order for the Final Shape to have a solid payoff, all of those stories must have a satisfying introduction, explanation, and resolution. A campaign I'm glad I don't have to write. And speaking of those stories, I've told you about them. I've explained in great detail the story of the Gardener, the Mother of Light, the Winnower, the Dark Father of the universe, the secrets and hidden history of the Black Fleet and the Eldritch race connected to it. I have done my best to strip away the filler and minor storylines of seasons and expansions to present you with the big picture. And that picture, for better or worse, will be resolved on June 4th. The Final Shape finally arrives. We explore the Pale Heart, we go through memory lane, and at the end of the road we meet and kill the Witness. The Traveler is saved, we leave, and do what exactly? Well, we have the episodes, Echoes, Revenant, and Heresy. Let's break those down. Echoes is clearly about the Vex. Known characters of interest associated with the Vex include Osiris, Paradith, Emsund 12, and Asher Mir. As I've touched on in the past, the Vex out of all of the factions are the most vague and least developed in my opinion, and we don't know of any mastermind that controls all of the collectives. And even if there is such a character, I doubt we'll be facing it in Echoes. So what do I think is going to happen? In my opinion, we're going to fight alongside known characters who are associated with the Vex, and more likely than not destroy a generic Vex threat. Next episode, Revenant. It's clearly Scorn themed. I think it's obvious what's going to happen here. Fikrul, the Fanatic, is still out there, and we still haven't had him meet the 2.0 version of his quote-unquote father. My guess? We end the Scorn threat for good, with Crow getting more closure along the way. And then finally, there's Heresy, and this one should be good, and this is the one I'm most excited for. It's clearly Hive-themed, and unless she appears in the Final Shape, we still need to meet Xivu properly. And a confrontation between Xivu Arath and her light-empowered sister is definitely something I'd like to see. My prediction for this is pretty simple, with Xivu either dying or making peace with Savathun and humanity. What is the purpose of these episodes? Yes, I know it's padding, but narrative-wise. Unless they come around and I'm completely wrong, these seem very self-contained, and importantly, most importantly of all, what comes after them. At best, each episode will have something at the end that sets up a bigger story further down the road, but a new expansion hasn't been confirmed, and considering the PTSD Bungie is going to have after making the Final Shape, I wouldn't be surprised if it's just episodes for the foreseeable future. Let me rephrase this question for you. After the Final Shape, what are we building up towards? What is the next saga? The second saga? What is the next threat? The next major enemy? In my Beyond Light review, I summarized the story of the entire Destiny franchise in 3 points. Take back our worlds, defeat the enemy races, and destroy the darkness. We've pretty much taken back our worlds even if they're not, playable in-game. The only enemy races who should be standing after the episodes are the Taken and the Vex, and we already know that we're going to destroy the Witness in Final Shape, significantly reducing the Black Fleet's threat to the universe and theoretically unvaulting the rest of the locations that went in Season of Arrivals. The truth is that we aren't just finishing a saga, we are finishing the only saga that was ever envisioned, the only story that has its roots go all the way back to 2013. Once the core story of the Light and Darkness saga is over, the core story of Destiny is over. Not Destiny 1, 2, or 3, Destiny. So after the final shape, after the episodes, what comes next? There are only two possibilities. The first is the good timeline. Bungie creates a solid saga for the next few years, with a compelling storyline and a valid threat. If that's the case, I will be far more likely to stick around, and probably others will as well. The second is the bad timeline. Bungie has no idea where to go after the final shape, and they just start to make stuff up. We get a bunch of filler episodes until finally, wait for it, from the darkened depths of unknown space cometh the Zorpalad host. Zargwe, the Zorpalad regent, arrives and lays claim to our worlds. Guardians, you need to band together to stop this threat. Wait, guys, wait a minute. Why aren't you excited? You don't want to spend the next 5 years preparing to fight Zargwe? Really? Really? You get the idea. If our new saga is about some random threat like the Zorpalads or Teox, then I and a lot of people who care about the world and its story will not be interested, because we will be able to see that this was phoned in from a mile away. So in this bad timeline, you get two potential futures. Either Bungie prints episodes for the foreseeable future, with each episode being a self-contained story and experience, or they do make a new saga, but it lacks the foundation and soul of the Light and Darkness saga. I know that I've spent a lot of time explaining all of this, but it's for a good reason. I want you to understand that the final shape is a pivotal and crucial moment for the franchise's narrative. Not that you needed convincing, of course. Okay, with that out of the way, what needs to happen in my opinion? The final shape needs to end with the next saga being set up, or more specifically, with the next threat being set up. This threat needs to accomplish three things. Number one, it's already deeply connected to the Destiny universe, so no Zargwe, I'm sorry. 2, it has valid and compelling motivations, with it also being perceived as a viable threat. And then 3, it makes sense for it to confront us more than a year from now. With all of that being said, who do I see as Bungie's only option? The Winnower, the true master of the darkness, the co-creator of the universe, the true enemy of the Gardener, the source of our umbral center, and potentially the entity linked to the Veil. Now, I'm not going to sit here and spend the whole video explaining the Winnower in extreme detail. I made a massive video dedicated to the character already, so if you're interested, I really recommend that you check that out. The Winnower is a character with established lore and dialogue, and yes, it is the Winnower's dialogue, as in Unveiling, it directly references its conversation with Oryx in the Books of Sorrow, and I go all into that in that other video. But we actually know the Winnower's motivations. It has its own final shape that it wants to achieve, and its own ideology that's different to the Witnesses. We know its origins thanks to Unveiling, and that's that it and the Gardener were created by mathematical chance in the OG Garden before they created the universes. And we even know what its relationship with us is like. It values us, allegedly, and wants us to join it. Why? Because its enemy, the Gardener, made us as proof of her logic. We are her final argument, her final wager, and the Winnower wants to use her proof that she's right, and Uno reverse it to prove that he's right. Pretty ideal. At the same time, the Winnower said in Shadowkeep that he's on his way here, and that was like 2019? It's been a while. Still, that inevitable confrontation, it would give us something to prepare for. The beauty of it is that since the Winnower is so different to the Witness, it can still be a viable character once the Witness is destroyed. Now, are there any negatives to the Winnower being this chosen threat for the new saga? There's only one. It does make the final shape being the finale of the Light and Darkness saga kind of a lie. But let's be honest here. The pyramids aren't the darkness. They never were. Us defeating the Witness saves the Traveler, sure, but it doesn't end the overall game between the light and the darkness. I'm sure people would be annoyed that the new saga is just an extension of the previous one, but for me, I hate to admit it, but I am okay with that. If the story is solid, and it gives me a reason to keep playing, I will take it. And That might surprise people who think I'm just like a Bungie hater, but I'm not. Apart from what we have so far, why should the Winnower be the villain of the next saga? It is a force powerful enough to destroy not just us, but the Traveler and the Gardener as well. Not many other enemies can say that, so right away, it is a valid and viable threat. It is connected to not just us, but to the other races as well, like the Hive, the Vex, and the Taken. In the Hive's case, I'm sure we would get some really good insights from Savathun about this, as she remembers or she goes and reads what her brother documented about the Deep. The Vex are rumored to be the original winning pattern from Unveiling, and the Soul Divisive are connected to the Witness and the Darkness. That could be a really interesting storyline to flesh out further once the Witness is gone. What would the Soul Divisive do then? And then as for the Taken, I don't really care that much, I'm sorry. And I'll just say it, man. It's a one-up from the Witness. If the next saga came and the villain was weaker than the Witness, you're automatically losing interest. If we became powerful enough to destroy the Witness, then we can easily beat a character that's weaker. The Winnower is the master of the darkness. He's the co-creator of the Destiny universe. There is no stronger enemy. And like I said in, I actually don't know which video, it could have been a member exclusive one, I don't see us beating the Winnower in a fair fight. I think he has to be weakened first, and I think that would involve the Gardener sacrificing herself. Whereas, although the Witness is powerful, it is the child of darkness, and we are the children of the light. In a sense, we both fall under the same category of power level. And if you disagree, remember that the Witness was made with a set power level, while we don't even know what our potential is yet. Let's say that Bungie chooses to go down the Winnower route for the new saga. If that's the case, then I want to present you with my proposal of how this new threat would be introduced. We enter the Pale Heart. We go through memory lane, but two key things take place. The first is that the Gardener as a character is revealed to us, and as I've said before, her existence alone is proof of the Winnowers. At the same time, if she is real and the Winnower is real, then she knows about him and will most likely warn us of that. She has referenced the Winnower before to characters like Saint, so it's completely plausible that if revealed to us, she would also, by extension, reveal the Winnower. Second, is that when we destroy the Witness, it is made very clear that the darkness itself has not been destroyed, and that it is still a threat. A key part to this, of course, is the Veil, unless we end up destroying it in the final shape. So in-game, we have the dialogue from the Gardener, speaking about a greater enemy. The way Savathun did with the Witness and Witch Queen, we'll just copy that tactic and use it again here. We have the understanding that we aren't truly beating the darkness. And finally, I would have a cinematic at the end of the expansion, just like how the Witness was introduced in Witch Queen. We don't necessarily need to see the Winnower, but at the very least, I'd have him speak. By the end of that expansion and cinematic, we would know the following. 1. Who the villain for the next saga is. 2. What they want. And 3. More info about them than just a name. And what would be amazing is that after this, we could all go back through the lore and gather what information is available about the Winnower, piecing together what we can. It would give us a foundation for the character and allow us to set expectations for what's to come. And if we're setting expectations, it means we're still playing the game and that we're excited. I'm not going to make a fanfiction on how I'd have the second saga play out, okay? I'm going to end it there. But I do genuinely think that the Winnower is the only viable threat that will keep people interested in the world. What else will you settle for? The Nine? The Aphelion? A completely new race that was made up on the spot like the Endless from Halo Infinite? This to me is the logical next step, and it's honestly Bungie's lifeline. It's really their only cheat code. But what do you think? What do you want to be the main threat for the second saga, if you even plan on playing it? Let me know. Again, thank you all so much for your support. It means the world to me. If you found this video to be entertaining or informative, if it hit that wombo combo, consider liking and subscribing. And thank you once again, Detective Studios, for being an Ascended member. I'll talk to you all real soon. Take care, my friends.
Bye-bye.